My name is Keeman Neal. I'm a graduate of Lamar with a degree in business management. So I was here just a few years ago doing the same thing you're doing. I work at Merrill Lynch currently as a financial advisor. I help people manage and build wealth. Pleasure y'all having me here. So eager to answer questions.
My name is Jacob DeBooger. I graduated in May of 2014, just last year, and with a business management degree. And I work at Nature's Federal Credit Union, and I assist member service representatives with all the duties that they perform for the members.
Okay. Hi, I'm Philip Dillo. I work at Patriot Security. I went to Lamar, I think, close to 10 years ago. I have a single BBA in marketing, a double BBA in economics and finance, and I have my MBA from Lamar as well. What I do at Patriot Security is I train technicians, I train salespeople to go door to door, and I manage the website, and I do some other wonderful recruiting and processing, warehouse management stuff. So
if anyone has a question, I gave y'all all sheets. Those are like good questions to ask. You don't have to follow that one. Well, I'll go.
oh, we got one.
Oh,
Red shirt.
Mr. DeVillier, what is the most exciting thing about your job?
The most exciting thing? Well, we have a lot of fun. I work at a credit union, and everyone thinks that financial institutions are all uptight and everything. And I just, like today, I put an air horn in my boss's chair, and when she sat in, scared everyone in the branch. But that's exciting. I like going in every day and helping out everyone what they need. And it's always fun to go into work. I don't regret going into work every day.
Very good question. Yes.
I have a question pretty much for all of y'all, but
Okay.
how is it transferring from like school life to work life? As
Terrible.
far as like, well, I know like in school, like I'm cramming everything in, I'm working also, and so it's like my schedule, I have no room at all. And so after you were done with school, how was it just to have one thing, just to go to work?
I think anybody who works through school, it's going to be an easier transition. If you're one of the people who's blessed, who gets to just focus on school, it's going to be really terrible because it is a completely different thing. It really just kind of depends on your situation. I worked through school. I was a door-to-door sales guy. So for me, it was just more of the same and less of this other stuff. And what about you guys?
I would agree. If you work during school, it's easier because once you graduate, you don't have to worry about homework every night. So when you go to work and come home, you're pretty much done, unless you have to bring your work home. But it's a lot easier than having to worry about tests and assignments for 5 different classes. You just go to work and do your work there, and it pretty much handles everything.
Are you currently working now? You are. So, like you said, the transition will be much easier. If you are blessed to be able to go to school and just focus just on school, the transition is a little bit more jarring. I would say that your school work is more, you have a little bit more freedom in school to kind of do what you want to do, and your schedules are a little bit freer. Once you go into work, for most jobs, you're going to have a set schedule. You have certain things that you need to accomplish, kind of like school, but it's a little bit more structured, I would say. If you're not currently working, I would suggest if you're getting close to graduating, to go ahead and start getting out there and start looking for one. This is going to take a while, possibly, to get hired.
Who here thinks they're going to come out of college with a BBA and make $80,000 a year? Anybody have that, veiled belief? One of the things that Keeman just said, which is extremely true, that I didn't listen to whenever I was going to school, is I'll find a really great job. I have a BBA. No one's going to stop me. I'm going to be great. And the teachers, no offense to the teachers, they do kind of pump you up with that because they're trying to sell the school too. So you leave out of here thinking, I'm going to get between $60,000 and $80,000 job, and money's going to be no problem, and everything's going to be sunshine and roses. That's just not the case. And what he's saying is 100% correct. If you don't start looking now, or you don't have a job now, or even if you do have a job now, you might still be stuck in that crappy job. Go ahead and get out there. Very good advice. Awesome advice.
Yeah, I would add to that that your degree, like I said, you're not going to come out the gate making, 80, 100 grand a year, unless you're really, really fortunate. But your degree is kind of a a stepping stone to getting a better job. It puts your foot in the door to get the job that you want. It's just not a guarantee. Here you go. Here's your money and run. Yeah, I do.
Do you think that differs from city to city, like bigger cities? You think the time it'll take to find a job is kind of like the same what you're saying?
A couple different variables you got to look at. I think each of us could talk about those probably in a different way. Keeman, you're probably going to have the best experience of this, because you're at a big deal company. I'm at a local company. It's really just going to depend on what you're applying for and how many people are applying for it, and you got to think about that depending on where you're going.
It really is going to depend on what degree and what career plan that you're going to take. Some cities tend to focus more on, New York, if you're going to go work on Wall Street or you're going to go work in financial markets, that would be a better opportunity for you. If you're going to do something more local, like work at family business or something like that, then it might work in a smaller city. This really depends on kind of what career path you want to take. I will say that bigger cities tend to offer more opportunities in general than smaller cities do, but once again, there's too many variables just to say go to a big city or stay here or stay, wherever.
What are you trying to do?
Industrial sales,
Oh,
commercial sales.
oh. Well, you're in a very competitive field then. What do you bring to the table besides your degree? Do you have any experience in sales?
Retail on real estate license.
Retail, like just folding sweaters, never count that. What type of real estate?
Just training with residential.
Okay, so no big campaigns on commercial real estate. Yeah, so pretty much you're starting pretty green. You're gonna have a tough time. So you need to start getting prepared. You need to go out and find some type of experience that's in like a heavy industrial service or some type of heavy sales that's relationship based. You're gonna be fighting a little uphill with your current resume. Who else?
You said you recruited,
Mm-hmm.
does that, so you're in human resources?
No, at a certain point, in pretty much any job, once you go, I didn't really go that far to have to take on this responsibility. You're going to start recruiting your own team. You're going to start recruiting the people who work around you. You're going to start getting input, for the people who are going to be your coworkers. You just kind of get tasked with this because your employers, it's not due to laziness, it's just delegation. You know who you're going to be working with, you know who's going to be underneath you. So a lot of times you'll get the opportunity to select your team or select the people working with you. Or in my particular situation, I have a lot of turnover. So my bosses expect me to go to job fairs and run job ads and everything else to restock my technicians and restock my salespeople. So.
Why do you have a lot of turnover?
Well, we're in a high volume business. Sales always has high turnover, especially door-to-door sales. Technicians door-to-door also have a lot of turnover. A lot of people consider door-to-door the pits. There's a lot of money in it because you got to do a lot of work. Another reason is we also recruit security guards. A lot of minimum wage jobs have a lot of turnover, and that's just kind of life.
What other questions do we have?
I have a question. So you are saying that like job experience is important throughout college. What about like internships? Is that?
Depending on the job, extremely important. I don't concur with that. Anybody got an internship? All right, excellent. Anybody got a really cool internship? Okay, what you got? Both of you. Somebody go.
I interned at Aramco in Houston.
Okay.
In the Industrial Relations Department.
Ooh, very cool. What about you?
I interned at Fair Electronics, and it was in Dallas.
Very
so
cool.
I was over in engineering, so I got to learn about purchasing, and I took several little engineering-ish type of classes to learn the components.
Awesome. Excellent. Yeah. Guy who asked about sales. You're looking at going some type of industrial sales. You should have been chasing what these two girls were doing, but more in a sales aspect or more in a customer service aspect. That'd be a killer thing for you to have on your resume. You? No? No. Just brushing the hair.
You said you had your master's degree. What kind of difference did that make for you in finding a job?
And finding a job didn't make any difference. It got me a promotion where I was at. But with that said, I went from being the lead sales guy to being the sales manager / media manager. It was really, I already had my path set out because I busted my butt at what I did. You know, to echo what you said a minute ago, is a degree is just a stepping stone. It just cracks the door open. You have to push the door open. I know people who have master's degrees who are doing really crappy jobs. I know people who have bachelor's degrees or no degree whatsoever who are multimillionaires. You know, it just allows you to sit at the table. You still got to do all the talking.
So what got you into business instead of, say, some other thing like engineering?
Well, that's a great question. My dad was in sales, and I think I inherited some of his salesmaniness. And next thing I knew, I was working at a gym, working the counter. They took me from doing that to where I was selling agreements and contracts, and it kind of just went from there. You know, and then I got into door-to-door and loved door-to-door, and then I went and did commercial industrial. Hated it, but did good at it, so I did it for a while, and now I'm back doing door-to-door but training. You know, sales, I didn't really necessarily want to do sales. Sales just found me. I never planned on being a sales guy for the rest of my life. I got a finance degree because I kind of wanted to do what you were doing. I thought that sounded pretty sweet, you know. But I just happened to fall in love with this thing that you don't need a degree for, and I just kept thinking all along the way, I'm gonna get this next degree, and then I'm gonna go off and do what I really want to do, and I just ended up kept doing what I really wanted to do, you know. And now I'm doing media management, which is the Facebook, the website, all types of fun stuff like that, which is a whole different echelon of sales. So it's just, like I said, I didn't find sales, sales found me, and I've just been happy ever since. And every time I had an opportunity to leave, I just couldn't bring myself to do it. So,
Well, this is for the three of you, but what is something you tell a college student now that they didn't tell you before?
thank you really much.
Your best advice that you would give us now?
I would just say, if you find something that you really enjoy doing and it's something that you love, like deep down inside you know you want to do that, like don't let someone tell you that it's not a good job, even though it may not pay the most money or it may not be the most prestigious position. If it's something you really want to do, no matter what it is, I would chase that and just, you know, try and live out your dreams and don't let, you know, someone else tell you what you should be doing.
Correct. What you got? Let's see. I'm going to go, you've already answered one of yours, so I'm going to go with black shirt. I'm sorry, I don't know your name. Elephant shirt. Let's do that.
What are your views on graduating college and going into higher education, or just taking some time off to work and get experience? Which one do you?
I can tell you that actually because I'm living it right now with my wife. I went right out of college and did my MBA, and my wife took time off to work and get married, and you know, then she decided she wanted to get her MBA. It's hell. An MBA demands. It demands so much from you, and you have to give of yourself, otherwise you won't make it. You know, that's what my wife's experiencing right now. She's having to ignore her family, me, our pets, you know, to focus on her MBA, and that's a tough choice to make for anybody, especially as you get older and you develop more and more connections and resources and networking. You can't just shut people off and cut the cord, which that's what an MBA requires. You have to commit to the MBA. It's very, very, very difficult, but extremely rewarding. You know, so I would tell you, if you really want to do it, I think they got a great, like, you can try 2 classes or something like that. I would tell you to give that a shot, and if you like it, you need to go ahead and do it. You guys want to?
I've done it because I'm still wrestling with that now if I'm going to pursue my master's. Looking for, if you're going to do an MBA, for example, most MBA programs do want some type of postgraduate work, well, you know, once you graduate, work experience. So normally 2 to 3 years. So normally this depends on the school that you want to go to, that you're going to have it anyway. I kind of like, my best advice is to get out there and start working a bit, start getting some experience in what you're doing, seeing if you like what you do, and then pursue maybe higher education if you want.
All right, red shirt, what you got?
I actually have something to add to her too. One thing to think about is kind of like a hybrid of that, is to get your degree and then start looking for a job, and you can always do your MBA part-time.
Very true.
You know, because if you can tag team both of them at the same time, it'll be much better in the end, you know. But again, MBA is a lot more work than, you know, undergrad classes.
It took me almost 3.5 years to get my MBA because I did exactly what you're talking about. You know, and it doesn't matter how long it takes you; it just matters that you get it.
Yeah.
Well, I'd add to to that too, another tip would be that if you do start working, if you work for a larger company, that usually your company will help subsidize your expense for that. So that's a nice perk too.
Okay, another one. What you got?
I had another question before that. I actually have it for Mr. Neal. So you said you work at Merrill Lynch.
Merrill Lynch.
How is how is the environment there? No offense, but I'm not a salesman.
Mm-hmm.
And my degree is in finance and economics. And I don't necessarily want to be in like the wealth management field. I'm more in like the budgeting, like financial analysis kind of thing. But I'm just curious, how is it like the aggression and like the quotas and the, like you have to meet certain goals and how is that?
If you go into my track, which is the pure financial advisor track, now there, within Merrill Lynch, there are analyst positions and whatnot. We're big, we're part of Bank of America, so we're a huge firm.
Mm-hmm.
But all the major wirehouses have that type of, structure. That there's just not just the wealth management piece that you can go into.
Mm-hmm.
The wealth management piece that I do work in is competitive. It is very performance oriented, so you do have metrics and goals that you have to reach.
Yeah.
You do need sales skills, but they're not like, the most important thing. It's really kind of knowing all of our services and solutions and really being able to articulate that to high net worth people and kind of showing your value that way. I like the environment I'm in. When I graduated, I actually started working at Morgan Stanley, and I was recruited over to Merrill Lynch. So I've had kind of experience with both, and the cultures are pretty similar in that industry. That it's really performance dominated.
See, I'm not bad at sales. I'm just not very aggressive. So, I don't mind goals and things like that, but I know some places, like there's certain banks and they just push. So I didn't know if that's how the environment would be there.
It's not as blatant, I guess you could say, as some of the push deal, but it is very competitive. Starting FAs, typically, there's a pretty high failure rate because the production levels are so high sometimes, but it takes a lot of work, but it can be a very rewarding career if you make it.
Who's next? Somebody got an ask one. Ah, you, great.
Would you say that just getting like more of like a general degree, like you said most people have like a business management degree, but have gone to work in like different fields, like you have some, responsibilities in HR, like she was saying, and you're in more of a finance sector. Would you say that it's more impressive to like being a future job applicant to have like a specific, well, I have a degree in human resources, a degree in finance, or just to kind of like do more of a general degree and then branch off into what you're interested in?
I think we could all give our opinions on this, but I'll tell you my personal opinion. Whenever I'm hiring somebody to actually come to management, if you have a gen business degree, I throw your application in the trash because I wonder why you couldn't make a choice. That's just honest. It's better than not having a degree, but I don't look favorably on gen studies and gen business. It just basically says to me, you could pick. That's just my personal opinion, though. What about you guys?
I went with management because I felt like I was kind of a jack of all trades. Like I had interest in every area within the business, within the college business, but I wanted to have like a total knowledge. I didn't really want to specialize in accounting or HR. I kind of wanted to have a total understanding of all of them. So that's why I went with management. But I would say it's just situational. Every job's going to look at your degree differently depending on what the job is for.
Very true.
And you said that gave you like a pretty good like handle of all the different, like getting that, and you felt comfortable moving to other things. Like it gave you a pretty general knowledge there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, even though there was only a few classes on each subject, if you just look at the degree plan, you're like, well, that's not enough. But if you study the textbooks and like actually, engulf yourself into each class that you're taking, then you'll get a good understanding of everything, and then that way you'll have a good all-around knowledge of all business, not just one field.
Remember, if you want to go on and do something specific, though, sometimes you don't have a choice. And if you want to get your CPA or something, or your CFM or something fancy like that, a lot of times you can't go into different fields. You've got to have a direct path.
Well, I would say, and this is kind of a general question for everyone, is kind of if anyone's familiar with the medical field, who gets paid more? a family practice doctor or a cancer doctor? That's an open question. Well, they both get paid well, but usually the specialist makes drastically more money than a generalist does. So I would kind of echo what he said, is that, you know, if you're planning on having a very, very specific career path, the more you can specialize in a field, the better. If I could do it all over again, I think that the general marketplace values more technical and more technical degrees, so in business, accounting, and finance, or economics, than it does, say, the softer skills like general business or even management to a degree, because it's so general in some type of ways that you're not going to go directly into being, you know, the manager or whatever. Normally they need some type of experience for that. But if you have technical skills, and that's usually with degrees, period, engineering, science, mathematics, something that you can show some real value in, I think that's kind of the way to go.
I have a question. How soon did y'all know like what y'all wanted to do? Because like I graduated in a year and I still have no idea what I want to do with my career.
You heard me earlier. It found me. I didn't find it.
Well, I would say I took a very long path. I was a super duper senior. I actually started at UT and studied civil engineering, and I bounced around industrial engineering, physics, philosophy. I was all over the place. So I finally settled on, when I came here, I finally settled on business management because I kind of wanted to open my own business in a way, and still kind of wanted to jump out doing entrepreneurship. But that's kind of how I fell into the degree I was in. I didn't really know what I wanted to do, but kind of when this job opportunity opened up for me, I kind of found my passion. I think kind of as you go through life, you'll figure out kind of what fits for you.
Yeah, I'd say it was the same thing for me, because after I graduated, I took a few months off, and then I wasn't really looking for work, but an opportunity came up, and someone that I knew gave me a call for a position, and I thought about it as something I really wanted to do, so it kind of, in the same way, just kind of found me. I wasn't really looking for it, but now that I'm in it, I love doing it. I'm glad that I chased the opportunity.
What you got?
My degree is business management, and I don't really know what I want to do either, but like, y'all seem like y'all are both in the financial field. Why did y'all pick, or like, management, I don't know. Like, why did y'all pick the financial field when management isn't necessarily like in the financial field? Like, do you like working at a credit union?
Yeah, I love it. I mainly went with them because I had a genuine opportunity to help people, like, with their finances. And, you know, some people, they're not really versed in financial literacy. So for me to have an opportunity to go and, like, help them on the front line, like, actually, you know, assist them directly with them, that's the main reason why I chose the financial field. Even though it wasn't necessarily a management degree, like, type of job, it's something that I felt like I could really do. So that's why I chose that.
I would say that my finance kind of found me because when I graduated, hey, I needed a job. So, you know, it's like, hey, whatever opened up, let me get it. So, but I really enjoy what I do. Business management, like I said, you're not just going to step out there and start running a company or running a department or something like that. Normally, you have to work your way up for that. But I like general management because it did, well, business management because it kind of exposed me to kind of all aspects of business and how to really interact with teams, because in the business world you will team and have to interact with people well, and it did have a lot of valuable things to teach me about that.
Oh, what you got?
So following up on like you said that it's more attractive like in the business field to be a little bit more technical and everything, and talking about like having competitive advantages and making your resume attractive. Are any of you guys SAP certified, or like, because a lot of our professors are talking more, you know, like take these classes, get the certification, that's what they're looking for. Like, you need to know how to use this stuff, but I'm just wondering, like, is it an actual, or are they just trying to make those classes look attractive?
You're going to have to be a decent sized company. Like my company, you know, we're only about 500 employees. We won't have anything like SAP or CRM of that size for decades upon decades. You know, came in the all.
Usually SAP is more for industrial stuff. At my firm, we do our own custom built, you know, they do their own software. So really, once you get into the job that you have, it's really important to kind of study what field you're going into and what the job opportunities are, and then kind of navigate. You know, if they want SAP, then go get an SAP certificate on it can help you. But most jobs, normally when you're straight out of school and they hire you, they're going to kind of train you on their systems and train you on their protocols and procedures anyway. So I wouldn't invest a whole bunch of time getting a whole bunch of certificates that really won't help you.
If you're looking to actually be like a jack of all trades and you just want to find a job, which really I found a lot of people talking about whenever I read in different business magazines and articles, is knowing HTML. You know, web design's pretty hot, and there's a lot of small to medium-sized businesses that don't have somebody who can come in and wear multiple different hats. You know, who can be an HR person, / manage the website, / something else. You know, so if you're looking to go into the smaller side of the world, that can be a really great way to get a job in with a smaller company, is having a technical skill that a lot of smaller companies just haven't wised up to the fact they really need somebody to do that.
Mr. Miller, you're in marketing, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, how do you implement advertising in your workplace?
How so? You talking about internal or external? Am I talking about recruitment or sales?
Sales.
Sales, okay. So that's going to be external. Now, remember I'm door to door. So 9/10 of what I do is going to be human based. And after that, we're going to use digital media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, stuff like that. You know, all of our graphics are in-house made. All of our lingo, sales, all that stuff's in-house made. So really, it's kind of just, you know, we create the flyers for our door-to-door people. We train them, we throw them out there. Then we do a media blitz on Facebook, maybe some AdWords, nothing too crazy. You know, we don't do billboards or print or anything.
Yeah, advertise, like research-wise.
Research-wise?
Yeah.
A small company, you get the luxury of the researches every day. You know what's going on because you're literally living on the pulse. With a larger company, you have to worry about that. You know, I can tell you what's hot and what's not hot because I still go on sales calls. You know, and that's just kind of how it is because we're very, very top light. You know, of our 500 employees, less than 10% are some type of management capacity. You know, so actually I think it's less than that. I think it's more like 8 or 7%. So really, there's not a lot of time for research. There's not a lot of money put into it. It's what do you think? What are you seeing? Talk to the people beneath you. Go. You know, everything's quick. Everything's made on a snap. There is no grandiose book of research.
Okay.
Yeah. Is that what you want to do? You want to be a marketing analyst?
No, I'm in advertising and communications.
Okay.
It's just general question.
Yeah. You're going to be more like something kind of like what you do. Not so much for me. You know, small people's all going to be in-house. Yes.
You said that if you had a general business major on your resume, you would throw it in the trash.
Yep.
I don't know, I'm not. But what on the resumes, what is it that you've seen that made the best resume you've seen the best one?
Ink weight. Just generic ink weight, the weight of your resume for the ink that's on it. Now with that said, whenever I'm talking about general business, I don't mean like a management degree. That means you made a choice. You chose management. You know, general business says to me, you wandered through college. You didn't know what the hell you were doing. You finally were just able to get a degree. You know, so ink weight. What I mean by that is you know, what all projects have you done? What careers have you had? What degrees have you had? You know, if this is your first job right out of college, what's your GPA? What scholarships, what awards have you won? Anything that's going to make me think that you're amazing. You know, obviously work experience is always going to be better than school experience, but at the end of the day, you know, if I take a resume, which is a one-pager, that top 25%, I'm going to give you maybe 10 to 12 seconds, and you're going to wow me. So that's really the most important part. And the farther we go down the resume, the less I'm going to care. Because every single step along the way, I'm not looking for a reason to keep you. I'm looking for a reason to trash it. Because I got another 3 dozen resumes I got to go through, you know, 10 minutes ago. So make it really, really, really attractive at the top. Then as you go down, it can be less attractive stuff. But with that said, it doesn't need to taper. There needs to be just as much at the bottom as there is at the top. So if you don't have a lot of, I don't know, I want a scholarship for whatever, I volunteer in this charity, I've done this job, and this job, you need to go out and you need to get that. Because if I get a resume where it says, I went to school in some retarded mission statement about how you feel about whatever, that means nothing to me. I'll hire you if you're the last person I got. You know, what means something to me is tangibility. You know, what can I see on this resume that makes me think you have value, and I can fact check it. I can see that yes, you went to Lamar, yes, you worked here, yes, you won this award. A lot of people at the top, they'll put some diatribe about how they really feel that they're a team player and really want to be on time and really care about whatever. That's all fluff. It's abstract. It's up in the air. It means nothing to me. It's not tangible. So just keep those couple key points in mind whenever you're making your resume. Make the top extremely attractive and catch my interest instantaneously with something tangible. If you really just have to put fluff in your resume, put it at the very bottom.
I would add to that too that if you want a strong resume, like you said, stick to accomplishments. Stick to things that are something that you've done. Because I've seen resumes that say, I cashiered at this place and I did this duty and I did that duty, but you didn't tell me, did you successfully, implement a plan, or did you provide excellent customer service, or tell me you won an award for being something like that. Don't just give me, the very, very general basic outlines of kind of what your job does. Everyone knows if you're cashiering, for instance, everyone knows what a cashier does. Tell me what you accomplished in your job, no matter what that job is.
If you got a lot of experience, always remember to tailor your resume. Because a lot of people have had a lot of different jobs. If you're applying to go work at Merrill Lynch, and you've had, let's say, you've worked at a couple other financial firms, well, don't throw in at the bottom in college, I was a fry cook at McDonald's. They don't care about that. They care about what you bring to the table that means something to them. The guys across the hallway in the career and career and testing, they're really great at helping you with resumes. I would advise you to go over there. You can meet my wife, and they can help you craft a really good resume.
So I've talked about job experience on your resume. How would you say extracurricular activities rank compared to that? Would y'all really consider a potential employee if they were really involved while they were going to school, or is it not really?
I think it's very important that you are involved, especially if you don't have any work experience. I think it's very, very important that you're involved in clubs and activities here on the campus, because it shows that you, one, have initiative to do something, especially if you can get into a leadership position at one of these things. So it shows once again, an accomplishment that you've done something.
I agree 110% with that. 110%. Okay, somebody who hasn't asked one.
The more you give us, the more you get out of it.
Big guy, come on, give us a question. You're the strongest man in the room. You got to have a good brain to go with it. Come on, give me some. I'm looking right at you. What you got? Nothing? Oh, that's no fun. Red shirt, all the way in the back, all by yourself. You have to have some searing question at the front of your brain that's just dying to be answered by Jake here, huh? Come on.
Really, you actually just answered my question a couple minutes ago about that you don't have a lot of job experience, and would on-campus activities be a good, not substitute, but something?
It's something. It's better than having negative space.
Come back to me.
We're all, most of you are business majors, so that's just the way of business is you have to have your competitive advantage. So whatever advantage that you can get and show and demonstrate, then take it.
Dare to be brave. Yeah, what you got?
One thing, as I expand my resume, is my community service on there. And I question myself, I'm like, should I take it off? Does it really matter? Because I do have extracurriculars and a lot of work experience. And so how much would y'all say community service weighs?
Depends on the size of your resume and the job that you're applying for. If you're applying for a job like what I'm going to offer, I don't want your resume past the page. If you're applying for something bigger, something more important, then you can do a multi-page resume where you can throw that in. But still, always remember, tailor. Work experience supersedes charitable and extracurriculars. So if you have enough work experience to where you don't have to worry about putting extracurriculars and other stuff like that, then don't. But with that said, think about the company you're applying for. If you're going to go apply for a nonprofit, they may want to see that you've been involved in charity. Anybody want to add anything to that?
I think you're right on with that. I think that, like you said, tailor your resume, because hopefully you just don't make a resume and just send it out to everyone. I hope you actually read the actual job description of what you're supposed to do and then customize your resume to that job description. Because if you just send out a generic one, then your chances go way, way down.
Here's what they're going to do. They're going to have their big stack of resumes, and they're going to go yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. And the no's go in the shredder. And they're going to take the yeses, and they're going to do it again. And then somewhere along that process, they're going to start making phone calls. And if on your phone call interview you don't wow them, it goes in the trash. I'm looking for reasons to cut you. I'm not looking for reasons to keep you. Always keep that in the back of your brain. It's sales. You're just trying to sell yourself.
And then, at the advent of the internet and people applying online, they have computers doing that for them now. Well, computers don't care, so they're going to do a keyword search and kind of see what matches the best, and if you don't fit some criteria, then yours is out too. So,
how much does who you know play into getting a decent job?
Depends on the job, depends on the company.
in this area is pretty important, in other areas, bigger cities, less important.
Yeah, every job that I've had in this area, I've gotten it from someone that I've known. They've called me, that I've known personally, they said, hey, I got an opportunity for you. And all except for the very first job I had, I've known someone where I've been going to work.
You ever heard the phrase, your network is your net worth? So there's always, if you're not on LinkedIn, for example, get on it. You can make a lot of valuable connections that way. You might be able to know someone that's in an HR position at the firm you're trying to work for. So don't discount people, because at the end of the day, all business is this interaction between people. So you do need people skills, and having a lot of people and having a good source of people to connect with is very, very important.
To echo that, on LinkedIn, you can start a dialogue with somebody who's in the HR department or whatever department of a company that you're maybe thinking about working for. The great thing right now is y'all are college students. There's every reason in the world why you need to talk to a business professional and ask them questions. You're doing a case study, you're doing a paper, Lord knows what. It gives you a real opportunity to start a dialogue with somebody who could offer you a job one day, or could give you some really great advice. Somebody had a question back there?
Every day I have people come up to me and like, hey man, you work there at Signature Industrials, can you give me a job? That's like the worst thing you can do, is ask me for a job. Like, I will straight tell you no. Like, just you need to come put in an application. I'm not putting my neck out for y'all. Do y'all deal with that kind of stuff every day? Like, hey, you know this guy, can you give me a job, blah blah blah. And a lot of these guys that I'm talking about come from Lamar. They're like, hey, can I do this? Like, no, you really don't make that good grades, and you barely show up to school on time. You barely come to school, So
Anything you're going to put your name on, you get a CYA. You know what that stands for? Cover your ass. So if you're going to put your name on somebody, you make sure it's worth you putting your name on them, or whatever it may be. Really, it's just kind of personal preference. I'm sure these guys can echo maybe a different perspective. I don't like doing it. Family and friends make the worst coworkers. That's just my personal opinion. I know you said you work with your friends, and that's been great for you. But one of the problems I always have is the friend relationship and the coworker relationship intermingle. And if you're in a management position and you're having to do a disciplinary on your friend or your family member, that can make things really weird, really quick.
Well, I kind of say I wouldn't be as hard-edged as that. I think that if you know someone that has a possible connection to the person that you need to speak to, I think it's appropriate to say, well, hey, do you think I can get in touch with such and such that might be able to provide me an application or something like that?
Yeah.
Don't just, ask for a job from someone, but if you have a relationship there, I would foster it in a tactful way.
Richard.
So how do you think that putting your name on your age on a resume, how do you feel about that?
Sure.
I leave my
Why would you
age.
want to? Why would you want to? Never put your age on.
I leave my age off and my high school off too.
Great.
That's fine.
Okay.
You're in college. What do I care about your high school? You're in college. What do I care about your high school?
Yeah, exactly. And so I was told to just leave it off, because I don't want the age to be a factor that can affect me. But some people prefer to hire younger people, so I don't know if it would be.
That's not legal in the state of Texas. That's age discrimination. Now, there are some jobs that more
that is
youthful
true.
people are attracted to. For instance, my job, door-to-door sales. You don't find a lot of 40-year-olds doing door-to-door security alarm sales. With that said, though, don't put your age on your application. That's not good business.
Well, not necessarily your age, but like your high school kind of tells you.
If you're going to college, what do I care about your high school? If you didn't go to college, put your high school if you want. What you got?
So, whenever you're applying for jobs, you always see the 5 years of experience or the BBA position, and then they start going into everything that you need to have. So what if, like for me, I graduate in May? Well, I don't have either yet, but I'm about to have, say, the BBA. So do you just put in that application even though you haven't really met the requirements?
That gets
and
back
just
to
say,
what-
I'm about to graduate?
That gets back to what Kim was talking about a second ago, is using LinkedIn to network and develop a dialogue. You know, you can sometimes get around this, you know, you talked about with your job, you know, knowing somebody. You know, what was it saying, the weight of your worth is your network? You know, if you have a connection, sometimes you can get around that. But then there are other jobs and other companies where they're really sticklers about that. You know, this is the requirement, this is the way it is.
Well, like, I'm moving to Atlanta, so I'll have no connections. My thing is just another person on an email list or an application online.
I would say go ahead and submit the application to say that, you know, I graduate.
And just like big, bold, graduate
No,
name.
not big bold. You don't want to draw that much attention to it, but say, you know, you're going to have your on your education portion to say that, you know, I'm graduating in May. You know, if the job position is available, then they might consider it. You just never know. So
how would you look at it? Like, if you were going for someone that was coming into a finance position, would you negate the person that still, quote unquote, hasn't graduated? Would you just put that resume aside? Or would you actually consider it because, well, I'm not looking for a position, I know they graduate in 3 months, that's pretty close.
it depends on the timeline of how urgently I needed that person, how attractive the applicant is, and, you know, if they had, you know, if they had someone out there that had a finance degree already and had 5 years of experience, then they're probably higher up on the total pole than you are. So, like I said, it never hurts to try. You know, the worst thing they can tell you is no. So, I mean, that's my philosophy on it.
Last question.
Last question. They're rare, far and few between, but they do offer them sometimes. It's possible that they kind of move away from that a bit, but they offer them every